guys, Demo Donna here with Paper Wizard, and I am going to be showing you the birthday wedding block assembly in this video. So this one is really cool because not only do you have this adorable pink frosting option, but you get a bonus blue frosting option, and you can even just stick a little removable tape on there and you can interchange the pink and the blue, which will be really fun. In your wedding and birthday cake kit, you are going to be receiving all the pre-cut dimensional pieces, as well as a bonus from Paper Wizard. You are going to be receiving the pre-cut pieces to go on top of your dimensional pieces. So let's get started, put together our awesome wedding / birthday cake. Here are all of the items you are going to be receiving in your birthday / wedding block countdown kit. So this is a great addition to your kit, obviously for those special occasions you have coming up. So to get started, we are going to take all of the wooden pieces off of our block, and we are going to do that very simply by using your heat tool and your finger tools. So especially for those smaller pieces that might be really stuck down, using your heat tool to just warm them up a bit softens up the glue. Okay, so a very simple thing to do is take your heat gun. Once you warm these guys up, your pieces come off very easily. And make sure it's not too hot to the touch. You don't want to burn your fingers. So like that is nice and easy. And I just kind of pulled away, not at me, but I kind of pulled away so it's not putting any pressure on the actual wooden piece itself. So this still has a little bit of give. Take my heat tool, warm that up, and then pull away. So now for that leftover adhesive, you are going to start by just grabbing your first glue dot, and that all came off at once. And I'm going to use this glue dot as my actual tool to pull off the other remaining glue pieces. Now, if that's still warm from being heated, it's going to be more difficult to remove. So definitely let that cool a little bit, and then that pops right off. So you're just basically going to pounce that glue dot over the other pieces, and it's going to pick up that remaining adhesive. If you have a little bit left on your piece, don't worry about it because we are going to actually be adhering these. So see how this is still a little tough to remove? And like I said, you don't want to pull them because you don't want to break your piece. Now, if you accidentally do break one of your pieces, don't worry. You could simply glue it together, and you're going to be covering it up with the laser cut paper so you won't even see that it has a break in it. So I am going to continue to remove all of my pieces. I've now gotten all of my tiny little bits off. Apply a little heat on top here to warm up my glue dots underneath. And then making sure it's not too warm, I am just going to give this a good twist. And then I'm not putting any pressure on my wooden piece. And then I just pulled to the side. And now taking my glue dot again, I'm just gonna pick up some remaining adhesive, and my beautiful cake layer is off now. So just twist. There we go. And that is my final piece. And I can now start assembling my cake base. So I'm going to set my magnetic pieces to the side, and I've got my beautiful cardstock. Now, just to note that these are limited quantity, and some of the cardstock bases may vary. So if you noticed you have a smaller polka dot or a stripe, I just wanted to give you a heads up that some of the fun backgrounds or some of the fun different pattern papers in these kits may vary. Okay, so you want to make sure you're using a good adhesive. I have played around with a couple of different versions of how to adhere this, and I like using a combination of my red liner tape and a nice white craft glue. So I definitely like using a wet adhesive. You can use a permanent glue dots on these. You can use a nice strong tacky glue that's going to dry permanent. Just make sure it's a permanent adhesive. So I'm going to go ahead and I am actually putting my craft glue over my red liner tape. And what that does is that gives you the ability to move around your base to make sure it's nice and even before it permanently sets. So I've applied a nice amount of glue to the back of my base here. And I am just going to go ahead and hover over my base. Make sure that's where I want it. And if you have a little wood outline showing through, that is okay. There we go. Finish that up. When you're happy with the placement, I just go ahead and apply some even pressure, and then I am good to go. Okay, the next step is I am going to take my cake base, and that is the larger piece here, and I'm going to take the white, the beautiful pearlescent white paper, and because this is a very large piece, I have gone ahead and added some red liner tape as well. And then I'm going to use some white craft glue and make sure you get into all of your edges. There you go. And I am going to flip that over. And I am going to add that to the front of my cake. Now, one thing you want to make sure you do before you add any adhesive to your beautiful cut out pieces of paper is you want to make sure that you have the correct side down. So for instance, this only goes one way. If I were to lay it on this way, it would not match up. So do make sure that you have it going in the correct orientation before you add any of your adhesive. And since this was a larger one too, again, I added some red liner tape, and then I'm going to add some of my craft glue. So once you have completed the white cake base and your actual cake, so this is the cake plate, I'm going to go ahead again and repeat the process. So I'm going to take my red liner tape here. I'm going to apply 2 pieces here and really push those down. Use your fingernail tool to pull that up. I've noticed the larger, the 1/2 inch is much easier to get that backing up. And I am going to go, just like with the paper, into all of these areas, including on my red liner tape. Okay, flip that over, and this is going right over the white pieces that we have just laid down. And then you have your cake sitting on a plate. And I'm going to apply a good amount of pressure. Make sure that is nice and stuck, and I'm also sticking it to my table. I mean, I could just do this right now and take that off. Okay, so now I'm going to take my 3 pieces of icing, and you do have some options in this kit, which is really fun. You have the pink or the blue, and since I already have the completed pink one as my sample, I'm going to create the blue one this time. And these are smaller pieces of paper, so I am just going to apply my craft glue and then add my pieces. So I like to just give it a little twist, and then I pop these guys out. And then making sure you have the right way before you stick it down. And there we go. So there is piece number 1. Let's take piece number 2 out. Again, it's always good to follow your own instructions. So make sure I know which side is going down. Add my glue. Lie my piece down, and I'm going to repeat with the third one, and then go ahead and add these to my cake. All right, once you have the base of your cake baked up and frosted and ready on its plate, we are going to work on the candles and the flowers. So I'm going to show you one candle, and then I'm going to finish putting them all together. Now, just like with the frosting options, you have 6 different candle options. So I am going to use, so you have the 3 multicolor, or you have 3 red, or you can move out the pink and add a red one, which is what I think I'm gonna do. So that is the taller one. So I'm gonna use the red one for my tall candle. So make sure you match that up correctly, and I think it needs to be flipped over. There we go. So there is candle number 1. I'm going to use my blue one for candle number 2 and my green one for candle number 3. So I match that up. There's candle number 2, candle number 3, and I'm just going to go ahead and glue those on with my craft glue. Once you have completed your 3 candles, go ahead and line up the paper with your flowers, glue those together, and then we will, like I said, assemble our cake. I have finished gluing my flowers now. I'm going to go ahead and adhere them to my beautiful cake. I'm just going to add some white craft glue and just add flower number 1. Flower number 2, and then my 3rd flower right over there. Really push that down. Make sure it's nice and adhered. You might even want to add some additional adhesive. And now to our base. I am going to start by putting on my magnetic pieces, so add all 4. Once you have your 4 magnetic pieces on, and those were simply just peel and stick, flip that over, and we are gonna go ahead and add on our beautiful, delicious, calorie-free cake. Because this is so big, I'm gonna again go and get some red liner tape going. I have a nice piece on the bottom there, and I'm gonna add a piece on top. Add some craft glue. Make sure you get all the way up to the edges. And again, I'm going over my red liner tape. I'm going to place this down. Make sure you have enough room for your candles. So I'm going to go down right about there. So probably like a good, and see, because I've got that wet glue still on my tape, it moves around a little bit, so you can make sure it's nice and even. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start with my middle candle, and I'm going to stick that to the base there. Push that down. Candle number 1, candle number 2, and candle number 3. Now there is our birthday/wedding kit with exchangeable frosting colors. So I have 2 different options here. You have the beautiful pink frosting with the pink flowers and candle, or you have the blue frosting with the red flowers and candle. And a really cool thing about these kits is you can add borders and trim and flowers and bling, glitter. You can really jazz this up. This is a fantastic standalone project, or you can dive into your stash and really go crazy with these pieces with additional embellishments. And then I also just want to show you, I'm going to be adding it to my block calendar base. I've got a birthday on here. Leave in the comments, whose birthday do you think this is? January 17th. You know you're out there. I know who you are. This is somebody you guys all know here at Paper Wizard. January 17th, whose birthday? Okay, so I'm just gonna take my beautiful calendar and my really fun birthday block and just stick that right on there. And we are all done with our birthday kit. So head on over to paperwiz.net to check these out, as well as the other beautiful kits that we have for our block calendar.